Hi, everyone. Welcome to Poetry Street. This is the room without a roof where every voice is heard, and we want to hear your voice. But first, we want to acknowledge whose land we're standing on. New York City and Long Island has always been the gathering and trading places for many of the indigenous people. We acknowledge that we are guests on this land. Poetry Street and our work in this area of Long Island is situated on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers. Also the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, the Montaukett, the Reckonwalk, the Mansay, and the Haudenosaunee. And we acknowledge and respect the many indigenous people who live on this land and continue to make ongoing contributions. Welcome to Poetry Street. Poetry Street was started as a jumpstart program to help revitalize downtown Riverhead by employing our space in our regular business. So we're really glad to be here. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to my co-host, who I don't deserve, but she's here anyway. I mean, she's an Emmy recipient, author of many books, including Sleepless Nights, poems by Maggie Bloomfield. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the wonderful, the beautiful, my heart, Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you for that warm welcome, and welcome to all of you. We're so happy to see you this afternoon. We kind of thought everybody would be out of town. Obviously not. You guys are here. You wonderful people are on Zoom, and we are so glad to see you. And I haven't been here for a month. I missed last month. So I have a lot to catch up on. Chips began the introduction of our venue. Yes, it was almost 9 years ago that Susan Dingle and Bubby Brown, who is with us today, started Poetry Street. Susan now lives, thank you. Susan now lives in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if she's on Zoom. She may be sooner or later. Anyway, she left, she went away, and she bequeathed Poetry Street to Chip and me, which was lovely. And we are so happy to still be going strong, from the Blue Duck to Dave and Mike's Diner to the Riverhead Library. And I want to thank the library and the staff for having us. I want to thank Chip, who's always such a pleasure to work with. I want to thank Claire Lundberg, who's at home feverishly operating Zoom for all our online guests. And I want to hope that all of you had a very nice Thanksgiving. One of the things that we have introduced in this particular venue, and by the way, we call Poetry Street the room without a roof where every voice is heard. Our mission is diversity, okay? One of the things we introduced is the community poem. And the community poem jar is in the back of the room. For you people on Zoom, you can put a line in the chat. Please take a piece of paper, write a line. I guess the theme would be, I don't know, turkeys, I don't know, Thanksgiving, or whatever you want to write. Just one line on a piece of paper, put it in the poetry jar. I will put together a community poem and read it to you next time. And then, you know, you get to hear your line. I have two very short ones because I missed last month. I'm going to read them to you. This one was actually written, I think, a month before last, about poetry. Words gifted to us, sweet words of joy and peace, words that sing, that sting, that weep, that giggle. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That was written by you guys, okay? And the one from last month or from September is it is our dilemmas that make us interesting. Poetry is a gift to humanity. To be in a room and hear the sweet sounds, or so we said. I sing out loud to the body electric, but I never hear my line in the community poem. Maybe this time I will. It is my honor to introduce the poets today. We have three wonderful people. No, we do have one rule here, and that is, if you love the poet who has read to you, we want you to make a lot of noise, a lot of applause. I know it's a library, but it's okay if you yell and scream. We have not been kicked out yet. If you do not particularly care for what you heard, do it anyway. Applaud, yell and scream. A lot of people have read here once, and it was kind of like, okay, they come back and they get better and better and better. And I invite all of you to do that too, please. To our features. The first feature is a member of our Poetry Street family forever. She was actually one of the people involved at the beginning. And she's also just an amazing woman. Nina Yavel, a founding member of Poetry Street, is a clinical psychologist and a published award-winning short story writer and poet, currently in the Paumanok Transition and the Nassau County Poet Laureate Society anthologies. Nina is a member of the Poets of Wellbeing. I am also a member. Susan Dingle is a member, and another poet named Terry Moose is also a member. We have presented in rehabs on Long Island. We presented also nationally. Nina is currently putting together a book of her writings, assisted by her cats, Chance and Finn, and a wonderful poet who I hope is on with us today, Judy Turek. J.R. Turek, the purple poet. But please help me welcome Nina Yavel.
An intro. Thank you, Chip and Maggie, Claire. It's really wonderful to be here. Speak into this mic, I assume.
Yes.
So my poetry has also been put together by little pieces of paper over the years. I'm kind of a lyrical poet, and I have many different themes that I talk about: nature, childhood memories, the universe, love, mental illness, death, but not in that order. So I'll start with one of my energy poems. It's called Former Self. I will travel as a hexagon across the universal plane, expand, feel the solar wind fall through stars, expand from 6 to 1, then 6 again. Then I will know what bees have known since their first primordial dancing, the elegant compulsion of the snow, translucent lines of crystal joining. And if somehow a foreign god or sun dissolves my perfect traveling chair, I'll gallop through it all again, first as a circle, then a square. Winter Song. I search for you through stained windows, waiting for old voices to bring a song. Soon, so soon there will be green. Trees in white robes shiver, caress, and sparrows, their nerves reach into the core. Frozen branches ache toward morning, spines straight, they dance a stark ballet. The song rises, soon, so soon there will be green. and rivers will flow through the heartwood. Lost love will return in fine voice. Childhood memory, the white horse. In September, when hurricanes blew the sea white, my brother and I walked along the beach in Brighton. When the barnacled rocks of the breakwater emerged black and polished from the foam, and the gulls had settled in the gliding calm, we crawled upon our hands and knees and carved into the water-thickened sand bodies of giants. Centuries before us, an ancient race heard the same call, carved into the chalk cliffs, a sign for those to come. Haven't you seen the white horse on the mountain graze eternally on thin grass and felt with your own hands the slender bodies of the gods? So being a therapist, I'm writing about mental illness. The source, the manifestation of it is mania in this case, and also the recovery, and finally the renaissance. First poem is called Mother Moon, the sources. I tried to imagine this thin slice of Mother Moon, rounded. For one flowing moment, I felt the fullness of her belly. Then she slipped back to the sliver she was. I waited patiently for the next phase. Thin paper. Without love, there can be no chemistry. Without early love, there can be no later love. Unless it is layered in thin sheets of paper over and over on the same wound, same pain, the same broken will, until the wound begins to close and the pain slows and the will returns to layer thin sheets of paper over and over, to replace old film, to continuously mend the heart. The visions. Stained glass. The visions began slowly. That morning she studied the marks of her fate, constellations on her arms, the six-pointed star on her face. By afternoon, she had slipped into a false harmony, lay stone-faced, stretched in her lover's arms, her body chiseled marble, and she the Christ of the Pietà. On the ward, people strolled in their pajamas, stained glass characters from the tarot, the magician, the hangman, and she was the empress clacking across the floor in wooden motion. They gave her pills of every color, and when she fought, wrapped her in a canvas shirt that tightened the straps until her hands turned blue. After months, they thought she was cleansed, appeared to be sound, yet inside restless. A medicated goddess, her earth streaked with color, shuffled through January streets in a bundle of down toward the stained glass shop. Straining like the clear voice of a distant piccolo, the morning came into focus. In silence, a blue boat with yellow sails skipped on a maroon sea. Rays of a Capricorn sun pierced white clouds. The Virgin pressed in thick glass, tears frozen in prayer. She studied at the door. She stood there, heard the off-pitched toll of the bells, observed a broken spear at the window gate, studied a single bird circle. She whispered, "Would you teach me how to put these pieces into lead?" And the Renaissance. Celebration of sanity. Eve. This carving of Eve emerged like David. He from an abandoned marble slab, and she from a twisted root that lay broken on the ground. With clear intent, I peeled the bark and found her shapely waist, the bulbs of knees, a single breast, an arm that spiraled its hand a serpent's mouth, the other large and like a wing lay welded to her back. She was burdened by this weight, wetted down the knife and shaped her gently so as not to break her crucial parts. I took her shoulders in my hands and scraped the dust until the devil's horned head peered up at me. That tie was strong. I took Eve's long, eccentric limbs and fashioned swans, cut elephants and apes into her graceful frame, and on her slender neck I placed a silver ring, one that I had never worn. I had bought it years ago, not knowing that it held Diana's handsome features with turtle doves entwined. Eve's stately form, unbalanced, could not stand. The tempter's weight was far too heavy on her wings, so I wound a wire above her ribs where he and she were joined and set her free. Now she sails above my bed at her own deliberate speed, a knowing smile on her face, the devil hoisted on her back. Not something a little lighter. Mystic. At Mystic, the boats glide by, sun folds their sails, October's rush of wind stirs the water, sets their wake. Warm autumn tones wash the busy streets, strangers wind their way like sailors, unsteady on the slate. Unspoken words like anchors lay beneath the rusted hulls, then surface fine and sweet, like swans or cormorants pulling the grasses in the bay. How cleverly we turned the mast and jib sail, secured the other side. The canvas seemed to brush your lips and place the barest kiss. Your smile turned bittersweet, your eyes a watercolor blue. It was a day for sails to flap and linger, breathe with the pull of tide. How did the mainsail set so swiftly, and so the polished wheel? Before I knew what hit me, I was out to sea again. Rocks. I could say how these gray rocks remind me of railroad tracks, and spend hours comparing them to everything from frogs to little soldiers. But just beyond this desolate place is a field of lilies.
Bravo, Nina.
Starfruit. Waxen to the touch, bitter to the taste, unlike the sweet persimmon surging from her seams, your mystery is not of flesh, nor do you languor on the lips, but as you're taken slice by slice, the knife cuts through your dreams, and stars, enchanted stars, as many as the knife can thin, repeat their messages eternal through your thickened skin. Mid-January. In mid-January, while the pumpkins dry, Indian corn in ruby and yellow light, gourds rest undisturbed, their puckered flesh sanded. In this mid-season of time, before the brimming winter has arrived, October's suns, still buttered, become amber in the mind. The air clears, saunters through my window, scented green. Lilacs from another spring, all the seasons round, while I continue on to dream of warmer suns and roses in this thistle vase, sipping honey tea, remember. And finally, a funny one, I think. This was written in the 80s when women were kind of just finding their own space and becoming, still doing that. Yes. It's called Bookcase. Believing it would bring success, she raised the I Ching to the top shelf and slipped the managerial woman underneath, so they faced each other squarely. She rearranged the titles so that women in love pressed against our bodies, ourselves, and Zelda and the eternal man were back to back. We are not alone on the second shelf, now stood above Lady Chatterley's lover, and Andre Gide sloped against the gypsies. Yeats's vision firmly played in the FM band, and Castaneda attained the same height as delusions and dreams. Two copies of Women in Madness mirror images at the ends. And finally, with the full understanding of where each piece must fit, she slipped the Bible into the last niche between love and will and the unexpected universe.
That was gorgeous, gorgeous. Let's hear it again for Nina.
Bravo, Nina.
And there will be, time permitting, an
Bravo.
encore from our 3 featured poets at the end of the program. So this is not goodbye. Okay, moving right along. A few weeks ago, I heard this very powerful guy on one of the Zoom poetry events that I attend from time to time. And I just knew I had to nab him for Poetry Street. He texted me today that he has been ill. I hope he doesn't mind my telling you this. And so he will not be on camera. He will be on Zoom. He is going to share with us. Let me read you a little about him. Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram is the host and producer of the popular podcast Quintessential Listening, Poetry Online Radio. A retired professor and pushcart nominee, Michael has gained global acclaim for his spoken word performances and his focus on poetry to raise awareness of power, privilege, and oppression in society. His forthcoming poetry collection, When Cherry Blossoms Fall on Black Skin, will be published in 2024. To learn more about the podcast, perhaps he will post his the website. It is my great pleasure to allow you all to listen to Dr. Anthony read his work to us today. Tell me welcome.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me? Hopefully so. I'd like to give special thanks to Maggie and Chip for allowing me to graciously allowing me to share my work off camera. COVID has me in its grips and refuses to let go. But I wanted to be here, and I'd like to share some poems from my forthcoming book, as she stated, When Cherry Blossoms Fall on Black Skin. I am a spoken word artist, and it is my goal to convey to the listener in a raw and unadulterated fashion my desire to address difficult issues through descriptive words, vocal intonation, cadence, phrases, moans, and guttural grunts. And it is through my work that I hope to create a dialogue that might result in positive change in the world. So I'd like to start with a piece titled, The Mechanics of Aretha Round Midnight. When I was young and oh so misunderstood, I would often close my bedroom door and sit on the floor. I would drink ice cold cherry Kool-Aid in a white paper cup and eat large spoonfuls of peanut butter on crackers. I would also listen to music that softly played on the wobbly old brown record player stored in the corner of my room. Sitting in the dark, alone, I listened to cadent sounds and voices carved into dish-shaped black vinyl 45 RPM speed records that skip forward and backward deliberately, yet playfully repeating the same 1.8 seconds of track. These dish-shaped records produce sounds and voices that spun like whirling dervishes under the dull edges of a rusty turntable needle. Motown, held to be the epicenter of the sounds of young America. Philly soul served fresh from the city of brotherly love. The jazz of High Point's native son, Coltrane, and my favorite, the Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin, the gospel and soul siren who crossed the chasms that is the land of the free, a sun-kissed mockingbird whose cavernous voice created new routes to the moon. This strange mix of audio clips, pops, warps, and locked grooves transported me into 3 whole minutes of love, of pain, of sadness, 3 soulful minutes that around midnight soothed parts of my young, misunderstood, already broken heart. Go to bed. You better not scratch that record. Loudly, breathlessly, I'd often hear outside my bedroom door. Evil words spewed by my younger sister, a bad-mannered girl who regularly wore crimson and cream-colored hooped earrings with my mom's sapphire jewel scarf to bed each night. This ain't the weekend. 2 tired voices from 2 doors down the hall yelled in unison, "You've both got school in the morning." Lights turned off quickly. Music turned down squeaky low, still entranced. I stay up, moved by the dust scratches, audio clips, pops of the Queenful's soulful strength, and other heartfelt croonings carved into dish-shaped black vinyl, healing parts of my young, misunderstood, already broken heart. Thank you. For those who know me, they know that my lifelong dream is to visit Paris, to see the sights and potentially read a poem or 2 at the open mic at Spoken Word Paris. What is yet to happen? Hopefully there's still time. So I'd like to share a couple of my works that have a French theme, I believe. And the first is titled, When I Dream of Paris. When I dream of Paris, the skies feel like expatriate desires that mill and flow like Dali landscapes across the horizon. I walk briskly along the Champs-Élysées, stopping only to drink coffee at a small cafe near the river's edge. I must drink quickly because expatriate desires don't linger long when you live in small town North Carolina, a place where Dolly is better known as the name of the melancholy schoolgirl who lived fast yet died young. But when I dream of Paris, my nostrils feel the transporting fragrances, smells that lure and enchant like the city of light itself. I inhale the beauty of La Sacré-Cœur, Montmartre, and Montparnasse, and sniff delicately the flowers of Le Jardin de Luxembourg. But I must exhale slowly because transporting fragrances don't linger long when they're bundled up in stacks of dirty clothes that your mama washes for neighboring white families, and it's your turn to sort through them. But when I dream of Paris, the night is filled with the music of Josephine Baker. I eavesdrop as her siren song carves the twilight with a deux amours. I must listen intently, because the voice I hear is not that of La Femme Josephine. No, it's a gentle wail of Mrs. Mary Alice Grayson, an old woman my family visits each Sunday at the Greater Peace Nursing Home. In her room, in her private world, she sways and shimmies all day to the rhythm of the music she alone hears as she smiles and curtsies to the men she knew when she knew no loss or pain. Breathless from antiquated memories, she clutches her tattered purse and fingers the red silk rose that is still pinned to her dress. But when I dream of Paris, I stop the dream and awake to a more realistic life. The next in this French series is an ode to Francois Truffaut's movie, Jules and Jim, 1962. Below the cerulean sky, high above the indigo beaches of the Côte d'Azur, I dreamed of my plan to see Jean. She is in the passenger seat, besotted like wine in our love, the delightfulness of Candide still floating in the air. I hesitated, lost and miles from the next exit. An unexpected knock on the door. Charcoal memories had decided to revisit me. Depressed and lonely, they rubbed against me like a mating guinea bird. I struggled to understand. I cursed in the lazily daylight. I moaned in the sable-colored moonlight, exasperation escaping from my throat. A feeling of dread crawled over my body. Samuel Beckett peacefully slept while I waited for Godot. Gasping in anticipation of a non-existent character in a play, I hesitated, lost and miles from the next exit. Perhaps the past will repeat itself. I breathed in and out to this thought. I had wrestled obsidian nights before, tenderly held my own bloody defeat. The deafening silence of an unfulfilled life, victories unattainable in this one-sided skirmish. The war drum is suddenly silent. Murkiness had moved on and knocked on a new door. The strains of Lily Marlene in the distance. I hesitated, lost and miles from the next exit. Below the cerulean sky, high above the indigo beaches of the Côte d'Azur, I dreamed of my plan to see Jean, she in the passenger seat, besotted like wine in our love, the playfulness of Candide still floating in the air. We turned left onto Rue du Temple. Blue stained memories await us there. Many years ago, I read famed philosopher Albert Camus' existential essay, The Death of Sisyphus. In Greek mythology, Sisyphus was the scheming king who delighted in tricking the gods to achieve his own personal gain. Sisyphus was condemned by the gods to the pointless task of rolling a large rock up a mountain, only to watch the rock roll repeatedly down again. This is Sisyphus and Albert. Sisyphus, I read the words of Albert Camus last night. He stated that your eternal millstone to roll a giant boulder up a hill, reach the top, and watch it repeatedly roll down again was well earned. I wholeheartedly agree with his assessment of your mythological task. I read the words of Albert Camus last night. His reflections on the absurdity of life made me think about my own existence, the unceasing struggle to differentiate the real from the strange. Sometimes my views are so blurred that I often grow perplexed, distinguishing the difference between hazy stones and flowers. So I cannot help but wonder if, like you, Sisyphus, I too will roll a boulder up a hill forever. I read the words of Albert Camus last night. No, I have done nothing wrong. Unlike you, I have neither revealed Zeus's secrets to Aesopus nor been cruel to humanity. I've not cheated death twice. Once, yes, but twice, no. And Hades has yet to be given as my current address. My crime is that I wear a mask to hide my real self. Invisible yet visible, I dart through streets, conversations, and love relations so that no one will discover that I live with a mind that does not love me. The chatter in my mind is not gentle like that of a tiny baby. It does not exude warmth. It does not do a body good like milk was erroneously believed to do so. I read the words of Albert Camus last night. A troubled mind is the boulder that I repeatedly roll up the hill. Every day, I push it up to the top of my mind's mountain, only to watch it crash again before midnight. Never ending, never ceasing chaos caused by the light, triggered by the world. I read the words of Albert Camus last night. Afterward, I could not sleep. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning, wired. He had not slept well the night before. The constant rain had pummeled his window, kept him from sleeping, and kept him from stealing away home. As he lay there, he recollected what Nelson Mandela said in 2008. I can't pretend that I'm brave and that I can beat the whole world. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning, mired. His existence, like a torrential downpour, had engulfed him, overwhelmed him, and enslaved him in his stifling embrace. As he lay there, he recalled what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said in 1967, as long as the mind is enslaved, the body can never be free. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning, tired. His body ached. No relief from the inner torrent. The deluge offered no refuge, and he lay there in the midst of his own drenching and wept. As he lay there, he remembered what Fannie Lou Hamer said in 1964, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning, hired. He had found a new job, a job that beckoned him with minimum wage promises and thoughts of a new beginning, thoughts designed to combat what had become an increasingly familiar ending. Fired. As he laid there, he reflected upon what Zora Neale Hurston said in 1928. Sometimes I feel discriminated against, but it does not make me angry. It merely astonishes me. How can anyone deny themselves the pleasure of my company? It's beyond me. A forgotten soul woke up early this morning and begged for the night before. There's a couple more. This is Black Alice in Neverland. Black Alice was never perfect. Although she had perfect thoughts growing up in small town North Carolina, thoughts of her mama's sweet potato pie and hot watered cornbread sitting on the kitchen stove. Thoughts of what the world would look like when she reached the perfect age. Now she's reached the perfect age. Where did her perfect thoughts go? Black Alice's life was never perfect either, although she would proudly tell any new listener she'd greet that it was. She'd share heartfelt stories about her perfect children and her perfect husband who worked the perfect job. Never a day of concern she'd proudly share to those who would listen. Yet those who knew her well shook their heads, chuckled in disbelief, and watched that perfect lie slowly become like a pair of old shoes forgotten on the front porch during a hard southern rain. Black Alice never sang in the choir, although she was often overheard singing softly in the back of the church, singing in the perfect pitch and swaying proudly in the imaginary perfect long white robe she wore, sacred hymnal in hand. Reading musical notes she did not perfectly understand. The glory of her uplifted voice made up for this small indiscretion. Yet in her mind, thoughts of what saved her each night. Her perfect husband walked in, mad and swinging at the world, fists flying like fury, striking her face like lightning. Soon the storm would pass. A quick, I love you, baby, you know I do. Her perfect husband would softly whisper in her ear as he nibbled on her neck and plant a wet kiss on her raw, bruised, yet no longer perfect cheek. Like Alice sang on in Neverland. And the last two, really quickly. The piece is titled Grammatically Incorrect. I'm a retired professor of counseling, so we often talked about life in terms of understanding lived experiences and what's wrong to one is not always wrong to another. And I don't believe that we live our lives by the rules of grammar. We live our own lives as unique individuals, empowered to be who we are, not who someone wants us to be. That's my opinion. So this is grammatically incorrect. I am not a noun, a personal thing that you can possess by adding the letter S. You can't pluralize my being, my essence, or my soul to function solely as an object of your mind's construction. I am not a verb. You can't conjugate me at will and think that it's okay. My action is a reaction to your stagnant state of being. I would not change my tense, my mood, or my voice, any aspect of me, to assimilate to your assumptions of perfection. I am not an adjective. You can't modify or subjugate my life. I am not dependent on you for my existence because I can stand alone and live as a unique individual, empowered and proud to be who I am. I am not a conjunction or a preposition. You can't either and or but me out of existence because I can stand alone. You can't place me before the world and expect me to express an idea that is not my own. What I am is grammatically incorrect. My language is the language of difference. I do not conform to standard usage or prescribed ways of thinking, knowing, believing, loving, aging, or behaving. Therefore, take me as I am. I am creatively, uniquely whole, totally me, grammatically incorrect, but free. And finally, I'm not sure whether anyone in this room has ever in their life had to peel any potatoes or shuck any corn or shell any beans or anything like that. Sometimes when you're younger, your parents ask you to do those things and you really don't want to do it, but you do it because you love them and it's important. So I wrote the following poem as a tribute to my mother. The poem is titled Shelling Beans. She passed 2 years ago. This is Shelling Beans. This is my signature poem. In a small southern town, not too far from the one that you no longer claim, I recently visited my mama. I needed to get away from the maddening crowd. The boats were talking aloud that I am no longer what I once was. I left that back there just because. I needed to see her face, behold the originator of a race. I needed to let my mama know that her son was truly on the go. You see, in the grand scheme of life, mine was clearly without strife, had overcome that small town mentality, embraced big city formality. I was a giant among men, degreed and all too big to fall. I wanted to let my mama know that I had become all that and more. In the kitchen there she sat, big, beautiful, black and fat, smiling from ear to ear. Her baby was home, too long had he been gone. God's done come, old cousin Essie snickered. You see, some of her boys were in jail, so jealousy oftentimes flickered. Mama, in a loud voice I proclaimed, for you, the world I've tamed. I'm bigger than big, bolder than bold. When I walk, my way is paved with silver and gold. So ask me, Mama, not the places I've been and the people I've seen. You need some money? Hey, it's yours. My pockets are filled with greed. Come, son, she said, in a voice both nice and sweet, come sit here at the table and help your mama while she's still able. Child, what a day I've seen. Grab that sack and help shell these beans. Mama, I said, with an incredulous voice, I came back here by choice. I've been out walking with kings and queens. I don't remember anything about shelling beans. See, shelling beans is for the common man. I gave that up when I left the land. So ask me, Mama, about my plate of riches. You need a new dress. I'll buy you one inlaid with gold stitches. She looked at me in her wise old way. Although I did not know exactly what she would say, I knew that it would contain the wisdom of the ages. You see, she had lived a good life. Therefore, her life book was full of pages. She said, son, don't you ever forget, no matter how big you get, that life's about more than being able to walk with kings and queens. Life's about remembering how to do the common and simple things like shelling beans. You see, shelling beans is a time-honored task. And if you don't remember how, then I should have never asked. For it means that you've forgotten that true wealth comes from the fruit of the earth, from any place else. What is its real worth? So, my son, tell me your story. Is it only of the riches and the glory, or is it also about remembering how to do the common and simple things in addition to all that you've seen? Mama said in a sheepish voice that trembled, but not by choice. I do remember. So I grabbed that sack and helped shell those beans. We shelled what went on like hours, it seemed. But on that day, I did not mind shelling beans because I shelled them at the feet of a queen. Thank you very much.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a powerful bunch of poems. And to make that work when we're just listening, the cover of your book looks amazing, Michael.
Thank you very
Let's hear it again for Dr. Michael Anthony Ingram.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh,
That was
oh my
fun. Thank
goodness.
you. Makes me
And
feel
come
better.
back next month so we can see your face.
All right. All right. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Wow. So far, so wonderful. It's always a great, wonderful pleasure to find a new young poet that you you didn't know about before. And again, at one of the Zoom venues, I heard this young woman read, and she knocked my worn out socks off. And so I invited her to come and read for us today. Sarah Borruto is the author of the chapbook Damsel in Dystopia, Alien Buddha Press, 2022. And she has been published in the Luna Collective, Trade River Poetry, Suffolk County Poetry Review, Brave Voices Magazine, Long Island Quarterly, and Colors, the magazine. She has work forthcoming in Moral Crema Academic Journal. Sarah has featured across Long Island and New York City, and she was also the judge of the Huntington Youth Writers 2023 competition. We welcome her to Poetry Street for the first time, hopefully not the last, Sarah Borruto.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. This first poem was published in Brave Voices magazine. It's called The 5 Stages of Grief. A mother orca carries her dead infant on her back through icy waters for 17 days before dropping the calf. An elephant circles a pile of bones, sniffing and touching the remains of their deceased with their trunks. A chimpanzee brushes the fur and cleans the teeth of a corpse, refusing to return to the loved one's place of death. Magpies bury their dead under nests of twigs and grass. Crows squawk when one of their own departs. I carry her brooch, smell her clothes, avoid her home, build a nest of twigs and grass, and let out a squawk. Toothless Girl. My mind is ricocheting between war and a mother's embrace. After death, we are added to the past, but I've always been more interested in the future. How can nothing last forever when I don't know what the future holds? It'll be my forever, my last words, a dying breathy whisper I'll carry into the afterlife. I'm getting rid of pieces of myself, but I've not lost anything, like pulling wisdom teeth. I am the same girl, just with holes in the back of my mouth. The toothless girl twirling around the void, weightless with forever trundling off her tongue. I wish I could remember myself in utero, the calm before the storm, when I was part of another woman and not quite yet my own. I've always cared so much about everything, but caring comes with shame. The sensitive are shackled to the stake for forgetting nonchalance. But is it so terrible to care? I could never not care. Concern and justice burrow themselves in my left ribs. My lightning rods I unsheath in the face of abandonment. There is no sound of growing, but it does not go unnoticed. One day you look outside and the buds have blossomed, those silent, sneaky buds creeping up behind you with their beauty. I've grown in silence and lost all but fragility. Now I'm left looking for something to fill the holes in the back of my mouth. I know exactly what I'm yearning for, but not exactly why. Do I yearn because of free will or fate or laws of assumption, attraction, etc.? Do I yearn because I hate tonguing the empty holes out of habit? I yearn because our souls are bound to bone until they're freed. I yearn because the sea reaches out to me when I walk into it. I yearn because I can cross a bridge and I can be it. I yearn because you can always tell the spring sun from winter. I yearn because it kisses my skin instead of bruising it. This next poem was published in Colors the Magazine, so that's why it's blue themed. It's called Cobalt Crowbar. The ferocity of being June's child is fading. I should have been born in winter. Ice cold, teal to the touch, the chill in my spine exudes a blue that excavates the fourth chamber of my heart. Blood is blue before it leaves the body and drips down the skin in scarlet red. Sapphire enclosed veins never not, but I can feel mine do. Is there another strange girl that feels her veins tie in tight ropes when life confronts her? I want to be your heaven and your hell, the pearly gates in the second circle. Love was never meant for explosive hearts, and mine is a tripwire. There's loneliness in feeling so deeply. Even the bottom of the ocean stares down at me. Take this cobalt crowbar and wedge it between my wretched soul and crooked ribs. Let her out, let her love you, the strange girl, tangled in tripwires and ropes, who loves to love everyone but herself. Veil of a body. The soil shudders my spine. I want to undo my body and recoil into myself over and over again, unraveling the veil of flesh and bone, just to piece it back together, destroying and rebuilding the remains in a cynical cycle. If I decompose into the dirt, I can become the nutrients I've deprived myself of, devour the minerals that keep this flower standing tall. When do we stop starting over? Even the tumbleweeds are tired. And my bale of a body. I'll take a pitchfork to the perfect rectangular bundle and scatter my pieces along the ground, waiting to be stomped on and eaten by cattle. I am not the Virgin Mary or the wise men bearing gifts or baby Jesus. I am not even the manger. I am the soft, scratchy bed made in it, the thorns poking at his fresh cherub cheeks. Forbidden fruit. Why do we draw hearts prettier than they look, shielding the children from the truth of the grotesque fist of meat? I'm not as pretty as I look. I hide my truth behind a fairly well-painted portrait, camouflaging the crooked brushstrokes which bleed the wrong blood. Maybe I'm just bruised fruit, not forbidden or exotic, but ripened and discarded by the trees. Don't look for me in the field. Let the welt turn black to blue to yellow to a fairly well-painted flesh again. I'm young and I don't even know it. My swan song is ear-splitting. I think I'll feel better when the flies come out of my mouth, but I know I'll feel better when I sense the breeze on my neck or watch moss grow on stumps. When I face death, I hope to not face it fearless. I hope I fight even a little bit. Fists gripped, breathing thrash, struggling to sit up, looking for a fluorescent light rather than a godly one. Baby teeth. The tea kettle is screaming back at me. Scared, I swallow the sound, collecting myself the same way a good mother collects baby teeth. She doesn't have the heart to throw them out with the trash. They'll stay in a mason jar hidden from the children. In 20 years, they'll find them. Do I have the heart to let go? I can't let go of who I was before, the way the seasons felt different. Spring is not the same spring I knew as a little girl, and I still haven't found my baby teeth. These are the feelings my children will never see, a transgressive turbulence I'll save for winter. In 20 years, will I be a good mother who clings on to her children's youth and feed them sugared lies? I can't even hold on to my own, and my turbulence has always been year-round. I've never been a good liar, even with the ones we sometimes need to hear. Steel gripped and stone cold is all I'll be, the kind of person who lets go of baby teeth. Cannibal. I dreamt I was accused of being a cannibal, though I don't recall ever eating flesh. I lost everyone I loved in my horrid actions and disturbing desires. Smothered in shame, hanging from a spiderweb where I wait for my next prey and wait to be loved by it. Why do I feel wrongfully shunned and left with an emptiness swallowing me whole? Abandonment never ends, even in the dreamscape. Maybe they're right. Maybe I consume everything and everyone I'm missing. Maybe I want flesh to make up for mine rotting away. I've been shunned for way less than eating flesh and abandoned for simply wanting more. When I want people, I want them whole. When I desire till desperation turns me rabid. When I need love, I sharpen my teeth and hunt it down. I yearn for a finger-licking closeness that satisfies my hunger. Bone clean, skinned and gutted, shucked and drained. If that's wanting too much, then I am a man-eating beast. Exposed bone. I prayed for you, then I prayed to forget you, presenting my sadness like exposed bone. The grief is a barbed wire necklace. I know how to survive, but I forget what the first step is every time. Do I grab at the metallic thorns in a primal frenzy, or wait until they unravel themselves, surrendering to their throat hold? Pluck me from the earth just for a little while. The leaves helicopter downwards, I ascend up towards the slivers of light peeking through the clouds. Even so, I get caught in the rafters of the home I can't run away from. The roof is a cruel cave closing in on me. I'm exhausted living in the same room the memories live in. I talked to the walls about you, then took a hammer to them, exposing their bones instead of my own. Predator to prey. I do not know where devotion ends and obsession begins, sucking the fingers that feed me, licking wounds and salivating over sentiment, caring too much over the evolution of my dreams. When did you stop running away from me? I was the predator and now I am the prey, ignoring the hunt hot on my heels. God forbid you know I hear it. It's uncertain when you'll catch up to me. It seems my eyes unbolt right before your teeth sink into my scabs half healed, devouring the mouth that was supposed to devour yours. All I'm left with is the same room I always find myself alone in. The same room you've never seen, but every object in essence carries a piece of you in. A ghost that vanishes through me and hangs over my head in a veil. A mountainous fog that hugs my eyes. Misty floodgates waiting for the dam to break. I never usually give like explanation to my poems or preface really, but this poem I feel like I need to explain a little bit. I was thinking randomly one day about the year I was born. I was born in 1999, so I was thinking about Y2K and how everyone thought it was the end of the world. And I just fell down a rabbit hole of research on it and stuff. And it got me thinking how many times in history we've thought that the world was going to end and we thought it was the last year on Earth. So this is called An Ode to 1999 and the years that came before and after it. A red Mercury falls from the sky. I watch it from the bathroom window. It falls 3 times I wake. I was born just in time for the world to end. I took my first breath with a bomb strapped to my chest, swaddled and placed into the arms of the killer computers. The doctor picked up a Y2K emergency kit on his way home. But the 1933 babies were delivered on a doomsday of their own, born into Armageddon, destined to witness the final battle between good and evil before they could learn the difference, only to survive to have the 1968 babies born into Helter Skelter. But to be born in 1665 meant to be born ringing in the rapture, hardly speaking amid the year tainted by the devil's number, teased by a 3-day fire that was meant to last an eternity. The 1909 babies were greeted by gas masked parents hovering over the cradles on anti-comet pills, while their parents and their parents' parents constantly waited for the second coming that never came. The 1929 babies were late for the roaring party, but no one is born too late for war. And hearts break for the 2020 babies with no social skills, a seemingly trivial complexion in comparison to the 2011 babies whose fate was dictated by the Mayan calendar, or those born a year prior who would barely be walking on Judgment Day. Maybe the 2100 babies will be the ones to watch the sky fill with red and find foreignness in beaches and familiarity with rising water. But perhaps at some point, we're all born at the end of the world. Oh, and we're still here today. So the world did not end. Oh, yeah. Please, please hold her for me. I find myself mad at my own melancholy. My rage repents, leaving me sore scorned and sore drawn. I'll make my own prayers from now on and cry for the girl with red hair. The patrons say to manic Mondays and resentment, please, please hold her for me. Can my endurance indoctrinate me into a new inner ideology, one where concepts confess my moral imparity, one that's freeing, one where I stand taller, one where I'm no longer scared of myself? I'll write into a manifesto to flip through anytime the mirror reflects an enemy. Please, please hold her for me. I rest my head on my mother's shoulder. I wonder who will bury who first. I still can't decide if I want to be under piles of dirt or burned to ash, but death does not wait for decisiveness. Please, please hold her for me. My hands will wrinkle, but they'll still be my hands. They'll be the same hands that hold other hands that will wrinkle, worn and calloused and scarred, and their grip will loosen with my last breath. Please, please hold them for me. Thank you all.
I can barely speak. No one is born too late for war. Whoa. All right. That was just beautiful, Sarah. And I think you came out here from somewhere far west. So first of all, we congratulate you for getting through the traffic and getting here and for that beautiful, beautiful reading. And I want to thank all the features. Let's hear it loud and clear. And let's hear it for Marjorie Day, who really is 104. I hope she doesn't hate me for telling her age. What an honor. What an honor to be here today with all of you. Yeah, she looks a lot better than some of us. Anyway, what an afternoon for features. My goodness, I'm verklempt. We're going to move into the open mic. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the laws of the open mic. We ask that you read one poem. That is one poem, not the epic that's going to make your career, but one poem. After a certain amount of time, there is a hook that comes down from the ceiling and takes you up there. And that is not because we do not want to hear your work. It's because there are a lot of us on the open mic list, I think. And we want everybody to have a chance to read. Chip is going to host the open mic. I will get the list. Do you have the list yet? Okay, I'll get it. And before we go into the open mic, let me tell you about next month. Next month's Poetry Street is going to be a bit of a party, okay? We are not going to have features. We are going to ask any of you and any of you who would like to participate to bring a poem, maybe two if they're short, and everyone will have a chance to read because it's Christmas and we want to experience everybody's gifts next month, okay? So I'm going to turn the open mic over to Chip Williford.
The bitter earth has borne us all with parts of herself she reserves, different but also same blood from her, the bitter earth. Thank you. The first person that we would like to ask is Warren McKnight to come up and read for us. Okay. And as he's coming, I just would like to point out poetrystreetontheroad.com. We have 2 new videos from September and October, Bernard Hicks and Kathleen Donnelly, and as well as October, where we had Russ Green, Linda Bullock, and Gail Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, Warren McKnight.
Well, I'm so inspired by everybody. I was going to read a poem by Buffy St. Marie, similar to yours about war, but everybody touched my heart. I want to tell you a very deep personal poem. I've been a street musician for 40 years. Water been thrown on me. I've been harassed by policemen. I've been kissed by people. The police throw me out of towns. I've just received a proclamation from the county exec-elect, Ed Romay. I deceived, invited other people. Somebody paid me $1,000 an hour to come to their house. So, all these things, what do they mean to me? What really has meant to me is what I remember is a paralyzed woman playing for her and tears coming out of her eyes. Someone who used to come around every other week in the street and sing with me, and he couldn't talk. We'd sing together. Yeah, these are the things. Just the other day, a 25-year-old woman came up to me, a strange woman, said, "Can you come to my birthday party?" And I said, "Why?" She says, "I have your picture on my refrigerator since I was 4. So I went to her birthday party. And, when you have pleasure and you want to make people happy, nothing can discourage you, And, but being here has been a wonderful, terrific experience. And I'll just go on strumming my banjo all around and making people happy. One more thing that always made me happy, I would go down West Hampton and play my banjo, just like in Sag Harbor, and where come back with lots of money, and I meet a number of people in Riverhead, and I'd share the wealth. They were so happy, and I was happy. I've been blessed. I have a wonderful life. Not only that, it's getting better because of people like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Warren. And just so you know, we really appreciate you, and we appreciate you sharing your story. Thank you so much. And Marjorie Day, I'm sure that you have plenty of stories And I hope that you will say something, and if and we would love to have you say something if you will. And I'll be happy to bring the mic to you if you want. Okay. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We're so happy to have you. Okay, so next on the open mic, we're going to ask Bill Badger to please come up and read. Bill is one of our staples at Poetry Street, and we love him so dearly. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Badger.
Rules are meant to be broken, so I'm going to read 2 poems. But they're short. The wind is brisk, the air is cold, winter has begun, the night is long. We witness dawn too close to setting sun. Why bother with the daily chores? Why shake out the lead? Why venture into out of doors? Why not remain in bed? And this, some people like this because emptiness can be beautiful. This is called Thanks for Nothing. For the silence of a snowy day, for the purity of rainwater, for the emptiness of a cloudless sky, for odor-free fresh air, for the smoothness of a polished stone, for a day without problems, fights, for a mind with no distractions. Thanks for nothing.
Susan Semerade is one person that I really, really enjoy listening to. She came here 1 week and she hasn't missed one since. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Susan.
I think I'm going to need to write a poem on courage because it takes a lot of courage to come up here after all of these performances of these well-written people. Beautiful. Just took my breath away. Just beautiful. This poem I wrote 13 years ago on the eve of Thanksgiving in 2010. My granddaughter was killed in a car accident. And it's maybe a month or 2 after that, I wrote this. And it's called The Life of the Living. Somber feelings rise and recede like waves on a turbulent sea. Grief, pain, fear, dragging me down deeper, deeper. Depression, exhaustion, insomnia. Yet in the midst of the swirling, whirling conglomeration of emotions, a sliver of light shines through the bleakness. Relief, however brief, I'll take it. A glimmer of hope inches its way inward. A smile breaks through the barrier. Peace at last. What is that? A tear? And another and another? Wham! Sadness slams my being. I thought the pain was done, gone forever. Oh, I see. This is life, an ever-changing mix of highs and lows, joy and sorrow, peace and turmoil. This is life, the life after the death of a life, the life after the death of a life I knew. This is life, the life of the living. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan. Now we're going to go to Zoom land and we're going to ask Melissa Longo to please read for us. Now, Melissa Longo, she's one of our features on our film, Poetry Street on the Road. She's on episode number 3. The film actually has 9 episodes, and she's on episode number 3, ladies and gentlemen, Melissa Longo.
Hi, everyone. I couldn't be there because I have a corgi in my grip. So instead of a kalimba, I have a corgi. Love is a bountiful harvest. Harvest, pleasure, love, a swarm. Love, pleasure, swarm. A bounty grows, cornucopia. Discourse, discoveries, dalliances, most druid embroidery work. Wooden roots that I have never treaded by will. Oily lilies, frosted tips, gladness. Ottoman Empress. Why need an emperor? Women, men, strength, loss, love, a bountiful harvest. Never forget. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Melissa. And now Julian Matthews also lives in Zoomland.
Hi. Share screen. This is called unfriend. I can't unfriend a dead friend on Facebook. I can't delete the number on my phone either. What am I expecting? A phone call? A text message? Heaven really needs to expand its cell phone coverage. Hell only makes collect calls. I never pick up those. I know it's just a spammer trying to sell me something I don't need. They must have a lot of free upgrade plans down there. Their marketing teams are killers. Friendship online can be a tenuous thing. Is a friend on social media a real friend, or just a means to an end, like a creeper on a wall clinging to a boundary, or a border between two countries without immigration checks or customs clearance? I have too much baggage anyway and always need to unload. I grieve at birthday reminders. I reread your last posts, your last messages. You are a haunted house with broken windows. I peek in to see your ghost. Come out and play, I say. You laugh, smile, then walk away. Not my time already? But why did yours come so early? It's like you took an elevator up and pressed the top button. You should have gotten off earlier. You missed my floor. I'm still here and all the elevators are broken. They only go down now. I take the staircase sometimes just to hear the echo of you. I could use a hug tonight. Do you give lots of those up there? Do you receive any from the angels? I never ever saw God as the huggable kind, just an old guy with a long beard with a mean streak. Put us all on one planet and left us here. Go forth and multiply. We overdid it, I think. How do you embrace 8 billion people? Even 1,000 friends online is too much. One hug truly given is all I need tonight, but ghosts and gods don't hug, do they? Invisibility is too high a wall to cross for now. It's a boundary you can't see, but always there, a border on a map made up of broken lines. This border between us is made up of broken hearts. I'm just glad there's no unfriend button on your end, because I'm never going to unfriend you on mine. Thank you.
Now, how beautiful was that? So speaking of hugs, one of the best huggers is Bubby Brown. In case you don't know, this man is incredible, incredible, incredible. He was honored by the town of Brookhaven years ago as the Man of the Year. And yeah, and he should be, absolutely. He's a wonderful guy, ladies and gentlemen. He's our founder one of our founders of Poetry Street, and we're so glad to have him here today, Bubby Brown. Robert A. Bubby Brown. Let's give it up. I'll give my hug later.
Incredible. It's incredible. We just keep coming up with these people. Oh, that's awesome. This is the third month that I brought this poem to do. And I chicken out every month, but I gotta do it. The title is Falling. The theme is From Grief to Relief. On December 9th, 2018, congestive heart failure took my oldest daughter. And 42 days later, my youngest son, Bobby, lost his battle with pancreatic cancer. And I started falling. I was just serenely strolling along with absolutely no sane reason why. I fell through this invisible hole up in the sky. There was no obvious warning, no clue that it was there. Who would or could imagine a hole up in the air? So many life experiences kept constantly rushing past. How long will I keep falling? How long will this plummeting last? It was quiet, so quiet, no noise at all, like a trip through a muted dream. Outward, there was no murmur, no sound. Inside, all I could hear was my own scream. I fell past some folk on my trip. Others had fallen through. No grief, relief in the fact someone else had fallen too. As I flew past all these other folk, because I was falling faster, it dawned on me that other folk shared a similar disaster. One would expect to see some clouds while falling through this space. Clouds somehow seem to appear when you're in an unhappy place. Thank God there is no physical pain, because no medicine you can take can ease the lasting, endless throb from a wounded heart that aches. Pull down the shades of my eyes to shut out the unwelcome view. Eyelids down, not even blindfolds, the scene just filters through. Reflections from my life's past events zoom past in this uncontrolled fall. As high and lows from long ago, at random, I recall. I can't see where I'm going, can't see what lies ahead, because ahead is the wrong direction. Look down at my feet instead. Sky, an endless sky, as far as I can see below, eternal as imagination scope, to an end where I just don't know. You'd think with this uncontrolled fall, there'd be an element of fear, but emotion loses all effect when you simply cease to care. This hole that I have fallen through, no clue as to where I'll stop. I have a premonition that whenever it does and where it does, I'll still end up on top. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. And thank you for sharing your family with us. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to ask Susan Dingle to please read. She's our other founder of Poetry Street, Susan Dingle. Hi, Susan.
Hey, everybody. I don't know. Bubby, you are always a tough act to follow. And I'm just so glad we wound up falling through these holes together. All of us on Poetry Street. Thank you all so much. I wish this poem was anywhere near worthy of being read here. It's not, but I'm going to read it anyway. Called On This Day Still Known as Thanksgiving. Preparing to peel the potatoes on this day still known as Thanksgiving to those who have not renounced it as being another inauthentic moment in the history of the doctrine of discovery not only indigenous people have to reckon with, traditionally the day of peeling potatoes before anyone else is awake. And by the time I come downstairs, my mother already needed help or at least appreciation. I appreciate you, Mom, but it's only a dozen potatoes, and I have already moved on to praying that I might saute the broccoli correctly, according to the YouTube video my son recommended, that the amount of garlic will not be too much for some or too little for others. In a time of war, between wars, in the time it takes to write a poem, ceasefires will be proffered and or broken. Third parties will have stepped up or stepped down. Still, I am grateful for every effort toward peace, toward healing, for each expression of love that precedes peeling potatoes or follows a vegan turkey made of pizza dough, or a real one conventionally stuffed, brined, or barbecued in secret ways among the sacred conversations about the weather in which we are so grateful we agree. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you so much for Poetry Street. As you can see, we're doing well, but we still miss you so very much. So this next person I met in Cleveland, Ohio at my Aunt Nanny's 100th birthday party. She is the ambassador of peace, Pameletta Jones. Pameletta.
Hi, I miss you all. I got my timer on. My heart goes out to all those who have been so affected by the war over in the Middle East, and for those who have recently lost loved ones, etc. The title of this poem is Keep It. Keepeth thou prayer on thy lips. Keepeth thou care in thy heart. Giveth the others a helping hand. Keepeth thou love for thy light. Keepeth thou Lord for thy guide. Helpeth the others to understand. Amen. And in closing, Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. And we are climbing Jacob's ladder. Soldiers of the cross. And we are climbing higher and higher. We are climbing higher and higher. And we are climbing higher and higher. Soldiers of the cross. And do you think I'd make a soldier? Do you think I'd make a soldier? And do you think I'd make a soldier? Soldier of the cross. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. Soldiers of the cross. Amen. Thank you so much. God
Thank
bless.
you so much, Ambassador. That's what we need, a little bit more peace and a little bit more love. And now we're going to continue on the love here by welcoming Bob Hayes. And he's at the Riverhead Free Public Library here at 330 Court Street in downtown Riverhead. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Hayes. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say great work by the three features and so much open heart and honesty and sharing. That's one of the reasons that I enjoy this group. I haven't been here probably in about 7 years or so. So it's good to see the people that I had seen before and people that are new to me. Good to hold it. So good. Okay. So this is called The Daisies of Peace. We stand in the shadow of a dream beneath the spring eve sky. Primal drum beats echo in the distance. We sow our moonlight garden, plant the seeds of hope, dress the earth with fertile mulch, sprinkle it with the wisdom of the ancients, baptize each pod with love, to raise our precious fruit, the daisies of peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bob. And for those of you on Zoom land, if you want to read, please send Claire a chat and she will let me know. And then I will put you on the mic. Okay, so we are going to ask Vinny Colon to please come. Now, Vinny, I'm going to ask you to talk about what you do here for the poetry community, because you do a lot. And so come on up here. Come on up here and tell us who you are and what you do and why you are so important to our community, which you are.
Well, thank you very much, Chip. Another round for Chip, Sarah, and the rest of the features. Thank you. I run an open mic the first Tuesday of every month at the Green Space in Rocky Point. I'm also on the board of the Scene. Hold on one second. So the Scene is a monthly zine. This is the camera right here, right? Okay. So M.T. Paridi, Stephen Leonardo Clifford, and myself do the Scene. And you were actually, Sarah, you were in one of the issues, right?
Not yet.
Oh, you will be. You submit something. But other writers have been in the Scene. We feature 10 different poets a month. We have, it covers the open mic poetry community. There's a listing on the back with all, it's $5 per issue. We sell it on a subscription basis. We print 100 copies a month. And we feature 10 new poets a month. And we also have a centerfold with our correspondents in the field. We have an artist interview. So I'll pass it around. If you guys want to take a look at it, you can look at it. I only have the one copy though. So I'm also doing an open mic the first Tuesday of every month. If anyone is ever going through Rocky Point or on the way to Rocky Point at the Green Space at Rocky Point, I've learned very quickly, no one is ever on their way or going through Rocky Point. So anyway, this is my poem. It's called Man Child. It's out of the new book that I'm going to be releasing very shortly, and it's on the press with Judy and Peter. So it's called Man Child. I just got to touch everything. I can't keep my mouth closed. The more that I reveal, the more I'm exposed until I'm wearing nothing but the emperor's new clothes. I throw a tantrum, scream and cry. I lie or lay still only long enough to collect my thoughts. What I want, I take by force. I'm never happy. I'm always sad, always angry, always mad. Mad at the world most of the time. Mad at myself for forgetting the line. Losing my place in the line. While losing my spot in the queue. And did I mention that I envy all of you? I'm blue. Most of the time, I have no idea what I should think or what I should do. I'm rude. I elude questions regarding my person. I rely solely on your suspension of disbelief. I will steal your time. I'm a thief. I will talk to you incessantly about nothing when standing in line, complaining most of the time, falling behind, forgetting to rewind, albeit altogether unintentionally unkind. I am a sailboat on a reef. I consistently seek relief. Did I mention that I'm a thief? I'm a spy in the house of love. I'm a rush of blood in the push before the shove. I'm a hug. I am jumbled rhyme, lost prose with broken spline, pages misaligned, cracked right down the spine, glue dried and peeling. I am lacking in both tact and discipline, both etiquette and caring. I possess qualities unappealing. I sin, I begin again, I subdivide and replicate, twitting my thoughts to actions. I've only a fraction of the common sense needed. I fail to take heed. I feed and I am fed upon. I am gone, daddy gone. So long. Say goodbye to Hollywood. Say goodbye, my baby. I am a baby. I am always in a foul mood. I brood. Every need and desire I have, I must be met with speed and attention, or I explode and destroy my invention. I implode multiple times a day. I delay. I waste hours ruminating, turning negative thoughts over and over and over and over again in my mind. I fall behind. I unwind. Being unwound with method unsound, I confound, I astound, I rebound. Some say, I don't see any method at all. You see, I just make stuff up and throw it against the wall. I tell tales that are tall. I call you on the phone, you text me. I'm testy, I'm nasty, and lastly, I'm always too busy to listen, too busy to hear you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm learning to accept responsibility for my own actions. Give me traction. Excuse the infraction. I'm sorry I've forsaken you. You see, I've been down in a hole, tying my shoe, searching for a new and better view of the setting sun from the pier. But I'm still here, and you are still there. And I know it really seems like I just don't care, but I'm aware of my actions and the reactions which they've caused. And I've exhausted all my options, and I've just stopped by to say hi and bye. I'm sorry. I'm just a jealous guy. Pie in the sky, innocence, ignorance, vigilance, violence, and aggression. I have passion. I have pride. I am wild. I am just an immature, overgrown man-child. Thank you.
Thank you so much for Vinny. Thank you so much, Vinny, for reading. And thank you for all that you do in the poetry community. Are you going to read? You're not going to read. Okay. Okay. We have people here that just love poetry. Okay. And we're so glad to have you. Are you going to read? Hey, are there any other readers? Well, I think Maggie Bloomfield should read a poem. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Maggie Bloomfield. And Bernardo, we're going to come to you. Hopefully you have something for us. And Judith Whiteman also, we're going to ask you to read also. You don't have anything? Okay, no worries. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Bloomfield.
Okay, this poem is called, and it's a new poem, and it's called Stream On. I like to stream the news a day late, because then I know I survived it. That bombs and shattered glass and a world full of hate spared me to live one more day. That floods and storms and blazing infernos passed me by, filling me with empathy and horror, but with arms and legs and ears intact. That Matthew Perry and all the rest died, and that is terrible. But somehow I am still here to offer solace and money and prayers to the Ukraine, the Mideast, the democracy I thought would prevail forever. Selfish, yes. But you are still here too. And for that, I am very pleased. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Maggie. Thank you. So this time of season, I like to think of people that are less fortunate than I am, and maybe put a spotlight on some of the problems that we're having in the world. And some of the problems are some of the things that we are accustomed to. Abuse should not be one of them. This is from a child's voice. The shame is not my own. I was the littlest, the last of 5, really of 7 children. 2 I didn't even know until I was grown with kids of my own. Okay, I digress. I stood silent, quietly in line, on my face fright for the ages, wide-eyed, sidelong stare at my big brother, and a fluttery ache in my belly. Yeah, I stood in that line. I stood there wearing my lucky yellow shirt, wrinkled trembling sleeves, and bell bottoms shaking like a leaf. Inside, outside, frozen. Perfectly still I stood, all the time wanting to run away and hide, with my big brother at my side. I was 8, and this lineup was the routine when you did something wrong, like not doing your chores or not doing what you're told to do, and especially like looking like you kind of want to talk back. Come on, I know our family was not the only one. Really, is there any reason to hit, to whip, to beat a child? Okay, I digress. Again, 8 years old I was, lined up from the eldest to the youngest, me. After the speech, delivered as long as Sunday sermon, came the beckoning of the hand, pointing out exactly where to stand. First, my eldest brother stood in the designated spot, stoic and still like an ironing board. Painfully, I watched as he, like a hungry crocodile, clenched his teeth as though his very pride was at stake, relentlessly, way too long. So wrong. Twisted take, aggravate, instigate, make more blows to flow harder and harder. Did the tears choke behind the levee until he broke? His head did fall with nothing at all to say, feeling hurt, shame, and defeated. He walked away. Within finger's reach, one by one, I watched each of my siblings slowly walk from the line to the spot. A docile stare, her hand outstretched, without a sound, a single tear raced down. Taken by hand, firmly jerking whichever way. What? Nothing could we say. Okay, belt, extension cord, strap, diverse switches braided with care, struck my sister, who didn't break her docile stare. One by one I saw them walk off sniffling in gloom, alone to our shared double bunk bed single room. I was 8. Holding my behind, I walked from the line to the spot I was told to stand. And like dark seas, I disappeared in memories. And like the rest of my siblings, I too extended my hand. But the shame is not my own. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And we'd like to bring our features back and we have, yeah, yes. Yes, please. We're gonna have Bubby come back up here. Let's give it up for Bubby. Thank you, Bubby.
Our next poetry shoot will be after Christmas. I hope my memory chips are working. Because this is old and I'm hoping I remember the whole thing. And it's entitled A Phone Call from Santa. It was a couple, maybe 3 or 4 days ago now. I was sitting home alone, and there came this friendly ding-a-ling on my trusty telephone. So I got up from my easy chair set by Kool-Aid on the floor, brought the phone up to my ear just to see what was the score. Lo and behold, and holy smokes, I was taken aback. Again, was my annual call from old St. Nick. Man, how time flies. He said, how you doing, Bubby? And I told him I was fine, but it sure is getting scary, this flying by of time. But what was more disheartening, there was a touch of sadness in his voice. Compelled to find the problem, it seemed, I had no choice. So I said, yo, Chris, what's happening? You don't sound quite yourself. Is Rudolph down with hoof and mouth or problems with an elf? Or maybe it's just global warming that's giving you a pain. I mean, it's tough to land a loaded sled in a warm December rain, especially since the sled was built for snow. We'll get some soon. If not, better give up them runners and order some pontoon. He said, whoa, just hold on, Bubby. It's more serious than that. It's starvation and war, and it's fentanyl and crack. And it seemed like the good and decent folk are fighting it hand and fist, but seemed like every time they gain a step, fate gives them an ugly twist. Then there's this other ugly thing, folks fighting to be on top, lying to friends, backstabbing others. Man, that stuff has got to stop. And it's not that I have a problem with success. I find no fault in that. But use your God-given gifts and talents, not somebody else's back. Now I said, well, just hold on, Chris. Things can't be that bad, because I was sitting here feeling pretty good. Now you got me feeling sad. But if what you say has substance, if what you say is true, just tell me how I can lend a hand. Tell me what I can do. He said, Bubby, your part is easy. That's why I made the call. Just spread the news I give to you. Tell one, tell some, tell all. Tell everybody that Christmas is a season of good cheer that lasts from December to December, 12 months of the year. Tell them it's more than exchanging gifts and singing a Yuletide tune. I mean, why kiss me under the mistletoe now, then don't speak to me in June? I know we all can't be bosom buddies. There are just too many personalities. But at least give respect when it is due exchange congenialities. So I told Chris that I'd do my part, and I'm asking you to lend me a hand, at least give me a good start. Then, by golly, we'll show them. We'll tell everybody how it's done. It's more than about visa bills. It's time to have some fun. So Merry Christmas from me and Chris. Be healthy, be happy, good cheer. May all your Christmas dreams come true. Merry Christmas and a happy New Year.
Now, now that's what we're talking about. Thank you so much, Bubby Brown. Now, this young lady's been sitting here in the Riverhead Free Public Library, and I've never met you. What's your name?
Mary Winters.
Mary, where are you from? You from Riverhead?
I'm from Ronkonkoma.
Ronkonkoma. Well, welcome to Poetry Street.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's your name?
This isn't my favorite thing to do.
No? Okay. You're welcome.
Palms are sweating. If I pass out, you have to pick me up. Okay. This is called Words. We stay away from the bad ones and never breathe a word to anyone. On occasion, use a $5 one. When intrigued, hang on to every one of them, then quarrel and insist on getting the last one. We spread the word, use loaded words, get them stuck on the tip of our tongues, and yet at times words fail us. We heed words, utter words, hear, silence, write words, yell them, sing them, and when a loved one dies, we can't find the right ones. We use powerful words, truthful words, grammatically incorrect words, words for loving and for lying, for living and for dying. We question them, omit them, erase them, and someday we'll write our last ones. When that day comes, I know I will question mine and ask, am I laying here or lying here?
Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you again at the next Poetry Street. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Maggie Bloomfield.
I'm going to bring the features back up, but Bubby inspired me. I have a Thanksgiving poem that was one of the first poems I ever wrote. This is it. The turkey is a lovely bird. I smile each time I meet him. And every year, about this time, I like to cook and eat him. Okay, it's time to bring back the features for an encore. Nina, Nina, Yavel, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Judy and Bert. Those Judy and Bert are my friends from high school. I've known them for 64 years. Hi. So I thought, since it's spiritual time right now, and everybody is being very spiritual, I'll be spiritual too. I learned from one of the cosmonauts, I think, that we're in a simulation, actually. This is not a real world, that somebody created us through a program. So this is a program, this is prayer to my higher power. Our program creator, who art in the Pleiades, great simulator of mankind, expansive be thy name. Thy branches will come, thy strings be done on earth as it is in your celestial office. Compound each day our daily code and forgive us our glitches as we forgive those that thrash about us. Lead us not into the void and deliver us from the unskilled who might erase us. For thine is the source, the power, and the light through infinite probability. Amen.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nina. Next up, Michael Anthony, do you have an encore?
Yes, I do.
presentation?
All right, all right. This is titled Today I Think I'll Echo. Today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, because like the sun, I plan to rise up and greet the morn with a dazzling brilliance that cannot be denied. A majesty so great that the world cannot hide. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun. And then I think I'll echo the song of the birds, because like the birds, I plan to sing a song so loud that the sound of my voice is carried across nations, and the power of my words will lift like the thunder that began life's creation. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, and then I think I'll echo the color of the grass, because like the grass, my color is rich. So rich the weeds cannot even touch me. Indignations cannot destroy me. For like the grass, you might step on me, cut me, cause me to fall. Just give me a minute and I'll come back and stand just as tall. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, the color of the grass. And then I think I'll echo the coolness of the breeze. Because like the breeze, I too am cool like that. I'm all around like that. You might not see me, but my presence is still strong like that, still proud like that. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, the color of the grass, and the coolness of the breeze. And then when nightfall shrouds the earth in a peaceful darkness, I think I'll echo the glimmer of the moon. Because like the moon, it can be as dark as a starless night, but I still know my luminous spirit shines just as bright. So today I think I'll echo the beauty of the sun, the song of the birds, the color of the grass, the coolness of the breeze, and the glimmer of the moon. And then I think I'll grab something to eat, because echoing the beauty of life always makes me hungry. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. And now the lovely Sarah Borruto.
Wasteland. I am the architect of the bridges I burn. In this wasteland, the crows pick their teeth with their own feathers. In this wasteland, we dance under the oldest new moon. In this wasteland, the violets resemble violence. In this wasteland, we shake our heads yes when we say no. In this wasteland, the cicadas roar and the butterflies are too tired. In this wasteland, the sailors ignore the sirens. In this wasteland, cradles rock like tipping boats. In this wasteland, banned books are used as firewood. In this wasteland, burning rubber is the sweetest perfume. In this wasteland, the comets are cowardly. In this wasteland, we eat from empty plates. In this wasteland, I am wasted and so small. Thank you.
This has been a splendid afternoon of poetry and
What she said.
yes, and please come back for our Christmas party next month. Let's hear it again for our wonderful teacher.
Thank you all so much. Get home safely, travel safely.
Love
We
you.
love you, and we hope to see you again next month at Poetry Street.